Hello, this is Tim Fantastic, and
Sid Sirloin. How are you all doing out there?
Today we're going to talk about the FCC and a little bit about me personally and why I believe so much in the freedom of the press and why I believe that we should have freedom from the oppressive press. Isn't that what we call the press of bias? Isn't that right, Sid?
That's right.
And first, I would just like to say I'm Tim Fantastic, and this is Sid Sirloin, right?
Yep, Sid Sirloin.
And I usually start out with pictures of myself because I'm so pretty. But today I was starting out here with our view of the consumer guide from the FCC. And I hope that you can learn something from this as we explain it. Now, the FCC receives a wide variety of comments and complaints from customers about whether network stations, news reporters, or commentators give inaccurate or one-sided news presentations, fail to cover certain events, or to cover them inadequately, or emphasize or dramatize certain aspects of events. Other complaints concerns reporting illnesses, accidents, or deaths of individuals before the families have been informed. Well, we see that happen all the time, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think anybody's families are being informed before they're finding out on the news that their people are dead? I don't think that's happening, is it?
No.
Unfortunately. I wonder if those people in Manchester's families were allowed to be told that their families were dead before the media started broadcasting who they were. I don't know. So what do you think, Sid?
It's highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely. Well, that's what we'd like to think. But we'll keep continuing on here with our complaints of journalism in the FCC. Now, as Tim Fantastic, I have a special interest in 1984. I went to school for video and television production, didn't I, Sid?
Yeah.
At the School of Communication Arts. And at the School of Communication Arts, we learned how to do journalism. They taught us how to do studio news and TV news, and they taught us how to do a lot of things. Now, I decided not to go with journalism, didn't I, Sid?
Right.
What did I decide to do instead, Sid?
Be a rock and roller.
I decided to play music, and I got this out-of-tune guitar here. So I'm going to set it aside because, unfortunately, the media is requiring me to come out with some opinions about their behavior. Isn't that right, Sid?
That's right.
So, Sid, you can hold on to the guitar if you want. And we'll sit it over here. And then we'll go back to our thing here. Now, the FCC authority to respond to these complaints is narrow in scope. The agency is prohibited by law from engaging in censorship or infringing on First Amendment rights of the press. Well, it says, what can the FCC do? The FCC cannot interfere with the broadcaster selection or presentation of material for the news or its commentary. However, the FCC does regulate content in some areas. Federal law or limits the broadcast of obscene, independent, or profane language as defined by the U.S. courts. Also, the FCC may issue penalties for knowingly broadcasting false information. Did you hear that, Sid?
Oh, yeah.
It does say, doesn't it say here, so the U.S. courts, also the FCC, may issue penalties for knowingly broadcasting false information.
Right.
That's pretty interesting, isn't it, Sid? Now, that's part of the responsibility of being a broadcaster, right, Sid?
Yeah, clearly.
Clearly, broadcasters have responsibilities. The Fox network, MSNBC, CNN, they bear some responsibilities and can be penalized. So we as consumers of CNN and Fox and MSNBC should be demanding that they make reforms to their networks, right, Sid?
Right.
Or the FCC should be penalizing them. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Now, it's real important to know what responsibilities do broadcasters have. Okay, well, let's find out here. As public trustees, broadcasters may not intentionally distort the news. So what do you think, Sid? How many people do we have distorting news out there, Sid?
Oh, just about every major channel. Yeah.
Just about every major channel is distorting news. And it says that's their #1 responsibility of broadcast news as public trustees. Broadcasters may not intentionally distort the news. I'm afraid they're doing an awful lot of that. So, well, let's keep going here. The FCC has stated publicly that rigging and slanting the news is the most heinous act against the public interest. What did they call it, Sid? The most heinous act. See that, ladies and gentlemen? The most heinous act. Heinous act against the public interest. That's a pretty intense statement, isn't it?
Okay.
Now, this is coming from the journalism PDF here and the FCC here. This is the most heinous act. The FCC may act to protect the public's interest when it has received documented evidence. Well, documented evidence, that's interesting. So let's concentrate on that for a second. Documented evidence. All right, well, I mean, the documented evidence is interesting because, there's lots of documented evidence. We all seem to want the documented evidence, and we're trying to find documented evidence. And are we finding documented evidence?
Yeah,
we are finding documented evidence, and it's all a process that we're learning how to use the skills and the tools that we have here. And it's super important to remember that as you're going through the process, that you try to find out, what exactly you're trying to accomplish. And then once you get to that accomplishment, then you can start to figure out what exactly is going on. We have this is just one example. There's so many examples of things we could share, but we'll just share this one. And this goes down a long list of history from since 2006, 2005, 2004, 2000. It's 2015. We could trail the history of the media bias for years and years and years and years against truth and against people that want to live in truth and in peace. And many of these people are liberal, like Sid and I. Aren't we liberal, Sid?
Yeah.
We're very liberal. But what we're not is, what we like to concern by liberal is being in love. And when you're in love, and you have the dreams of the universe come before us, we have a chance to focus on something other than the physical nature of this world. It takes away from your ability to achieve as a human being. And as long as your head is filled with lies and distortions, whether they be from somebody that agrees with me in some viewpoints or not, most of them are all corporatists who are just trying to get rich on our hearts. And I don't want to give my heart over to hate, do I, Sid?
no.
So we don't give our hearts over to hate. And we live in peace and love with our brothers. Don't we, Sid?
Yes.
Yes, we do. So, we want to find truth. And like I said earlier, I went to school for broadcasting a long time ago. But I decided to be a musician and play music. But I'm so disgusted that over the last 5 or 6 months, I've had to make these kinds of broadcasts. All doing it in love, trying to wake people up to the distortion of the media and to the lies that it's putting out every day, and that it's fomenting and pushing war and violence in the streets, and promoting violence between religions, violence between sects of people, instead of just reporting facts and distorting those facts to fit their political view. Whether it be on the right or the left, we find this sickening, don't we, Sid?
Yeah.
We do, Sid. Why do we find it sickening, Sid?
Well, it goes against, every ethic or principle that somebody should have,
Any poor person or rich person, are all our ethics the same, Sid?
They should be, ideally.
Ideally, our ethics should be the same. And there's always been a process and a truth that we've had to go through. And I want to keep going through a little bit more of this because I think it's important that we all get to find out exactly what the truth means for each and every one of us, and let our spirit become absolutely in tune with standing up for humanity, and how important it is that we stand up for humanity, and that we don't allow these people to manipulate us or take us to some other place that we don't really want to be. So I want you to understand how important it is that we go down this list and understand just exactly what it means. The documented evidence is a Harvard study that was just completed, a UCLA study that was just completed. Isn't that right, Sid?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's a testimony of persons who have direct personal knowledge. They're professors. Isn't that right, Sid?
That's
they
right.
study journalism. That's all they do, is study journalism. I would call that direct personal knowledge, wouldn't you, Sid?
Yeah.
And the intentional falsification of news without such documented evidence cannot generally be intervened. The FCC cannot intervene unless we have that documented evidence. But we have the documented evidence. It's all over YouTube, isn't it, Sid?
Yes.
We have all kinds of documented evidence of Hillary admitting that her emails were self-serving and that she set up the server to avoid detection by government and by everything else and everyone else. And that's why she set it up. And she said it on a video that somebody recorded on their personal phone. And we found that, didn't we, Sid?
Yeah.
On YouTube. Search that, find that. If I can find it again, it's been hard to find because I think they got pulled on. But those evidences, we are witnesses to that video. We saw it, didn't we, Sid?
Yeah.
Others saw that video. I heard it from her own mouth. So we have all kinds of documented evidence that the media is falsifying their reporting and not holding people accountable. And we have Harvard studies and other studies that are saying straight up that there's media bias. Falsification of media is going on. All these are the major networks. These aren't like YouTube videos, are they, Sid?
No.
Now, it says here, FCC can't generally, intervene, but I think, what if I have comments and concerns about the specific broadcaster news commentary? Now, I want you to watch very carefully down here. If you're concerned with the broadcast journalism that we all have, and that you're concerned that truth isn't being told anymore, and that all the broadcasts are biased, whether you agree with someone's viewpoints or not, shouldn't give them an excuse to break the law, should it, sir?
No.
Now, I'm leaving right here is filing. This is where you can file a complaint to the FCC on CNN, Fox, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC. All these are over-the-air broadcasters. And the stuff coming out of Chris Wallace's mouth on Fox on Sunday morning, that's over-the-air broadcasting. And Sid,
Yeah.
that definitely is over there. It's not cable. It's cable too, but it's all over the air. And the lies that are coming out of that program are insane, aren't they, Sid?
Oh, yeah.
So, like, all these people are aware of the lies that are coming out, and they allow them to come out, and they are encouraging them to come out because they have a personal vendetta against a person, rather than realizing that it doesn't serve the common good to foment anger and hate, does it, Sid?
No.
Now, I think I've had this up on the screen. You can rewind this and get this information and call all these numbers and file your complaints and go on YouTube, find the information, sign. Let's get a petition going. We think we could use a petition, right, Sid, to the FCC?
Yeah.
I think a petition to the FCC sounds up in order. to hold these journalists accountable, because the FCC can hold them accountable with documented evidence. And we have, documented giving studies on the fact that the journalists are biased. And I think that's a pretty documented evidence, don't you say?
Yeah, that's it.
Now, it's pretty plain that there's things in this world that we all don't understand. And if you don't understand what's going on in the world, if you don't grasp the importance of the moment and the time that we live in and the time that we have left to dream, that to free your mind and to free our children from generations of hate and anger, we should hold the broadcast media responsible. And I don't mean independent media. I mean broadcast corporate media. And I think they have to answer to the light, because the truth is here. The truth is here to say to the media, change your ways or the fines are going to start coming. People are going to stop watching you completely. We're going to file lawsuits against you. We're going to file complaints against you. We're going to file them over. We're going to protest on your doorsteps. You understand? We're going to come to your door and protest, Fox. We're going to come to your door, CNN, and protest. We're going to come to your door, MSNBC, public broadcasting. We're going to come to your door and protest and demand truth and accountability for those who are pushing nothing but lies. Isn't that right, Sid?
Yeah, that's right.
Everything in this world has a purpose. Everything in this world has a time. And our time is short. Our world is fragile. When did you find the time in your life to spend 1 second of it hating? Isn't that right, Sid?
Right.
That the best you can contribute, and I'm speaking now to the broadcasters, that the best that you can contribute to our society is anger, hate, and death, instead of education, harmoniousness, love, enlightenment, peace, and truth. What do you think would help our society more, Mr. Broadcaster? Enlighten them with lies and your sadistic, satanic voice, because all you knew how to do is spout your bias without independent thought or thinking? You, sir, are controlled by the system. Wake up. And we need you to come forward with your evidence of collusion within the media. We need evidence to come forward. And there's all kinds of it already on CNN and on Fox and all these guys, and it's all over YouTube about individual broadcasters and the dumb shit that comes out of their mouth that they know blatantly is ridiculous and wrong. But they spread it. So like the less intelligent people, uninformed people who ain't got time, they work and they work and they work. And so they get a little news here and they get a little news there, but every time they turn on the news, they hear a lie.
Right.
And misinformation. And we're getting no one held accountable by the FCC, who has every right to be a good umpire of the broadcasters. Isn't that what they were set up to do, Sid?
It is.
The FCC was set up to be of the media. And so the FCC has the right to penalize people when they go overboard. Now, how come the FCC is not penalizing CNN and Fox and the Times and all these different publications that are proving to be a detriment, showing unsubstantiated leaks that sometimes even prove out to be wrong, and they never apologize for their leak? So some guy leaks a lie to them and they go out and do whatever they want with it. Oh, because he was a government official and he lied to us, we have to go out and print it. Instead of checking it and double checking it and triple checking it. And then coming out, with some unbiased information about it instead of biased information. Am I right, Sam?
That's right.
And, as a broadcasting student from 1984, when before computers and cameras were the size of your living room, I didn't want to live in South Dakota. And so I never went into broadcasting. But I always love people and love doing the right things, don't I?
Yes.
And I cannot sit by and continue to allow untruth and distortion and fraud being played out on the American people without somebody answering for it. Isn't that right, Sam? And so for these people to answer for it, what we need to happen is for the FCC to start, proving to us that they know what they're doing and they have the ability to actually enforce the laws on the books. Because we already saw the responsibilities of, I'm going to show it one more time, the responsibilities of the journals. It says they, as public trustees, broadcasters may not intentionally distort the news. May not. And the FCC has stated publicly that rigging or slanting the news is the most heinous act against the public interest. Now, I'm going to read that one more time to you because I want you to really get what that means. As public trustees, the broadcast news are public trustees of us, the public. They are using our airwaves to broadcast through our power lines, through our airwaves to give us information. And they are public trustees. That means we have to trust what they say. Isn't that right, Sam?
That's right.
So do you trust what the public media says to you? And if you do, maybe you're not so well informed, or you're just a very trusting person. But I feel sorry for you because there isn't much truth going on in the public media right now, is there, Sid?
No.
And it's really sad, and it's really taking away from our society and our civilization. And it says, as public trustees, broadcasters may not intentionally distort the news. The FCC has stated publicly that rigging or slanting the news is the most heinous act against the public interest. One of the most heinous acts, the most heinous act, according to the FCC. But every day I see it. You see it every day, Sid?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering when the people at the FCC are going to wake up and do their job. And when the people are going to demand that the FCC wake up and do its job and put these people out of business or fine them for their acts of treason against the American people. I mean, distortion and lies are the acts of a treasonous person. And I don't care what your political view is, you're not allowed to lie as a broadcaster. Your responsibility is to tell the truth because you are a public trustee. Isn't that right, Sam? Right. So again, I plead and I beg. I plead. Be at peace with yourselves. Be at peace with your heart. Be at peace with your brother. Be at peace with the world. Wake up, I beg, and don't hate anymore. Please stop hating. Because hating just leads to death. And we all want to avoid death. We all want to avoid hate and anger. And let's find what hope is again. Let's find what it means to be community again. What it means to be a melting pot again. And understand that all media, news outlets that don't report facts or distort facts right after they report them so they can skew it into their political viewpoint are not serving the public trust. Are they, Sid?
No.
Do you want to name them again, Sid? I call them out, and I call you out, man, in the name of love and truth and peace and the fortune and the hope of all mankind. I call the media out on their lies and distortions. No matter what my liberal views are, no matter what, I will not subjugate my soul or my spirit to such evil practice. Will we, Sid?
No.
You know, as a journalist student who went to school for video and television production back in 1984, it reminds me of another book by George Orwell, and it was 1984. And in that book, if you ever read it, or if you know the scenario that's been going on since Metropolis, which was just George Orwell, all of it throughout time, we talked about the state that rules everyone with an iron thumb, that wants to control what you think, wants to control what you feel, wants to control what you hear, wants to control what you see, and wants to control what you say. If you are afraid to say what you feel, the state is winning. Again, I'll say it again. If you are afraid to say what you think, the state is winning. And if you are afraid to learn facts that disagree with what your point of view is, your soul is losing. Again, what did I say, Sid?
If you disagree with facts, your soul is losing.
If you disagree with the facts, your soul is losing. And humanity is losing. And again, we'll repeat it one more time, and we'll beg you to watch our videos, to watch this video all the way through, and understand that humanity's fortune relies on our ability to love each other and our ability to rise above petty political differences and to evolve into a spiritual being that's worthy to travel the universe. Isn't that right, Sid?
That's right.
To be a worthy spiritual being to travel the universe. Are we worthy now, Sid?
Well, some of us are, you know. I hope it gets to
Some of us are. Some of us. But to travel to the universe and to have the ultimate impossibility, you have to be working from a basis planted on the rock, planted on the mountain of truth, planted on a firm foundation of facts as best as you can find them. And then your soul has a foundation. I love all individuals. and I take everyone as an individual. I am not party other than anything than human. And I'm responsible for my love, just as you are responsible for your love and what you love and how you show that love or give that love. But what we need now is some force and some cooperation from the common man to stand forth no matter what or who hears my voice, to stand in the time of the apocalypse and understand if you don't recognize the times you live in, you can't fight against them. And the times we live in, what are the times we live in? Because I'm a spirit believing, I believe that things around us can be felt, perceived, past, future, right now. Isn't that right, Sid?
That's right.
And I believe that the future is in our hands. Our hands to make great, to make love, to make peace in the world, or our future for division, for pain, for suffering, for shame, for lies and distortions, combining with machines, becoming soulless, self-serving, all these things that do not serve humanity. Do those things serve humanity?
No.
Now, as public trusts, is the media serving humanity, Sid?
No.
As public trustees, Sid, is the media serving humanity?
No. Although they're supposed to, which is the saddest thing.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible what's going on. In our culture, in our world, the violence, the distortion, because of religion, because of the media, because of government. But what we need is freedom. In each individual's freedom to love, to walk against all anger and meet it all with love. And that's the hardest thing in the world that one could ever ask somebody, isn't it, Sid?
Yeah.
But nothing worth having anything worth having is definitely worth working for. Isn't that right, Sid?
Right.
So if it's worth having love in our communities and worth having love and peace in our streets and to protest against the right people, against the evil forces in the courts, in the justice system, in the FCC, in the high up in the corporations and in the banks. If those people aren't brought to justice, the soul of our nation will suffer. And if the political party, both political parties, with the lawsuits, we now know that the lawsuits aren't going well for the DNC, are they, Sid?
No.
They don't even believe in your freedom to pick your candidate. They said that in court. That's what the Democratic Party said. So even as a liberal person, I am still a Democrat and for democracy, and the Democrats don't even believe that anymore. They appoint their leaders. So their lawyer said to the court. Isn't that right, Sid?
That's right.
So to all you defenders of them, just remember that all the violence and the death around the world is caused by these neocons like McCain, Hillary Clinton, Bush's, Bill Clinton, war after war after war for the last 20 fucking years. 30 years of fucking wars after wars after wars, solving nothing, communicating with nobody. Again, not talking to the people of the countries, not letting our values known. And we should never, and I'm sorry, I don't agree with selling Saudi Arabia a bunch of weapons. I don't agree with that. And so as an independent person, I will say right up, that's a bad, stupid idea. It may bring us some money in the short term and bring jobs, but in the long term, it will only bring death. And so selling weapons isn't the answer necessarily, is it, Sid?
No.
But what I really want to happen is for us to get reform in the news media, and for us to get reform in our culture, and realize that a liberal position doesn't mean hating conservatives. A liberal position doesn't mean hating anyone, does it, Sid?
No.
And if I have a strong view based in fact and reality, your view doesn't affect me. And it is my duty to try to convince you of my view, not shove it down your throat in a half-handed way in political theater of every comedy show on TV that is supposed to be funny, but it's all left-leaning funny at the expense of conservatives. So let's go slap somebody around. Sounds like Nazis to me, doesn't it seem?
Yeah.
So please, I want you to wake up and realize that we've chosen to love, but we haven't chosen to be a victim. Have we, Sid?
No.
We're responsible. If we know the truth and we don't say anything, I'm responsible to my maker. Isn't that right, Sid?
That's right.
So I have to make these videos because no one else is. And the answers are out there for us to change things, to make a difference, to speak up and be heard. But you gotta speak to the right people. You gotta protest against the right people. Protest the ones that made you angry. Protest the ones that are causing the riots in the street, distorting lies when victims are lying on the ground and blood still warm on the concrete, yet they're already spreading lies. Insist that people wait until the facts are known to broadcast any information. And that's for the good of the public and the public trust. Isn't that right, Steve?
That's right.
Now, I'm warning you, media people. You know, I'm warning you. I'm telling you straight up. You got to stop. Because we're going to stand up to your foolishness. And you don't care about the common man at all. You don't care about the truck driver. You don't care about mama. You don't care about the school teacher. You don't care about anything at all but your fat wallets because you're getting paid so well. Do you know how broadcasters get paid millions and millions of dollars, Sid? Don't they, Sid?
They do.
Yeah, all these news broadcasters get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars. I ain't making a cent for this. But I believe in truth. And I'm so tired of not ever being able to find hardly any of it without searching for 12 hours to know every little detail about something and the different angles of it so I can somewhat surmise what facts are. Because there is no standard anymore in the media for what facts are. And that's part of the problem and why we all need to get involved. Start petitions, protesting, start getting involved in what we should really be angry about. Because how can you make an informed decision about anything if you don't have any facts to base your actions? Am I right, Sid?
That's right.
So, again, to Kim.com, who's come out and knows for facts, this guy's well respected in the internet community, that Seth Rich was the WikiLeaks leaker. We've known about this for months and months and months and months and months. And this truth that already came out, a lot of this stuff is nothing new. But, you know, if you don't want to find out truth, you don't already know it. Like I knew it. Sid knew it. Because we stay informed. So, I like to stay informed. It gives me good material for my music, which I'd like to go back to. So, if you know, at some point in time, you know, I'll sit and tune my guitar, making noise that I should be doing. Yeah, it definitely needs to be tuned. But if I'll save you that suffering. But you know, that's what we'd prefer to be doing, wouldn't we, Sid?
Yeah.
Yeah, we sure would. And so get us some shows. We'll come and visit your community. Anywhere in the world you're watching this video, if you pay the way, we're there. Anywhere in the country, if you want us to perform or talk, we're there. Anywhere in the world you want us to protest, if you paid away, we're there. I'll stand on the Rock of Jerusalem and talk about love if we find a way there, won't we, Sid?
Yeah.
And I'll do it because, like, humanity demands it. You know, I don't want this. I didn't call for this. But what I'm saying is, this is what it is, isn't it?
Yes.
It is what it is. And, you know, we are always trying to find out what it is. And we've been searching that for a long time, haven't we, Sid?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Sid, why don't you tell us a little about where you grew up?
Well, I grew up, I was born in Vermont, but I lived there for 2 years. And after that, the family moved to Bellingham, Washington, which is below Canada. So it's on the upper reaches of Washington State. And then when I was still a little kid, you know, we moved to Seattle, Washington, which is basically where I've been living since then. Except for a brief period where I went back to Bellingham and went to college. And then there was about a 6 months period, 6 to 8 months, I was in London, England. So I moved back to Seattle.
And then you moved back to Seattle.
Yeah.
And you've been playing music with me since how long, Sid?
Beginning of the 21st.
The beginning of the 21st century. And, you know, we have our YouTube page here, and, you know, we have lots of music and stuff on our YouTube page. And we would prefer to be promoting our music. We're going to be playing Folk Life this weekend. All 4 days we're going to be out playing at Folk Life. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday out at Folk Life. So if you want to donate some money to us in person, or if you want to find out what our music sounds like, come out and see us at Folk Life in Seattle, Washington. We buskers will play right there on the street. Sometimes we'd be lucky enough to get on a stage, but most of the time we just like to go with the community, and we play right there on the street in the middle of all the people that are walking around. And we like doing that, don't we, Sid?
Right.
Yeah, we have fun with that. And we play a lot of cover music, but we all do our own music and stuff. And we've been doing shows in Seattle again since 2006. Isn't it about right, Sid?
Yeah.
But I've known Sid since 2000. So, you know, we've had a lot of experience with broadcasting and music, and we'd rather be playing successful music. But when you get a calling, you have to do what you got to do. And so because it is what it is, we're going to rail out of here pretty soon, I think, and this video is about over. And it's focusing in and out there. I don't quite understand why, but we're gonna let it all hang out with some of our music here. I think you can hear it. This has been Tim Fantastic.
And Sid Sirloin.
And we're in a band called Tim Fantastic and the Styrofoam Meat Trays. And we also do commentary occasionally. And just remember, love is the answer. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Love is the answer. Love is the answer.
That's right.
Love is the answer.